Are you looking for a faster video? Well, today it's a live stream and I know you're probably looking for a really nice and tidy edited down video, but I have ways for you to make it faster. You can click that little gear on the YouTube settings right there on the video and adjust the playback speed, make me sound like a chipmunk, and it'll go a lot faster. You can also look and see if there's timestamps for this project in the description, and if you're on a desktop, you can hover over the time bar at the bottom of the screen and see if it's chunked up into chapters, and then that way you can go directly to the step you're looking for. And lastly, you can also tap on the screen on the right hand side of the video picture or on the left hand side to make the video jump ahead, forward or backward if you're on a mobile device. And you can adjust that amount in your settings so you can have complete control over how much it jumps. So if you are on a desktop, you can use the fast forward or the rewind, and that will make it go faster as well. You can also enable subtitles, and the little CC on the screen will enable closed captioning. That way, if I am a little bit harder to understand with that double playback speed, the subtitles might help you out. All right, well, I know that it's not a nice little edited video, but if you sew with me, we'll get there together and it'll be lots of fun. And now for the live stream. Happy sewing! Hello! Welcome, welcome. How are you all? Hi, Kira. Look what I got, Kira. Hello, Nancy. How are you? How does the audio volume sound? I was recording a video yesterday, and for some reason the audio was super low, and I had just recorded stuff and it was fine. And so then when I kind of dug deeper, I had to go into the computer settings and it had put my microphone at 60%. I don't know why. So I'm just making sure. I did a recording, but you know, you never know. Hi, Darwin. Hey, Sue. Hello. Thanks, Nancy. Perfect. Hi, Malin. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. So I don't, this year I've been only streaming every other week because I do a lot of stuff in the guild. And this is my off week because I will be out of town next week. So I thought that I would squeeze this in. We're going to do this in 2 days. It's a really interesting pattern. And I also wanted to squeeze it in because, and I saved this for later in the year because of the colors. It's very traditionally Christmassy. You can't get around it, right? You could. I think it's an amazing plaid, and I would wear this any time of the year. But I know that people will associate those colors with Christmas. So I thought it would be really fun to do it now and get it to Hart so they can put it up in their store for the holiday season. So, hey Hannah, hey Carol, hey Libby, good morning. Hey Shim. I saw Amy became a channel member. Thanks, Amy. So Kira the other day bought me this little gift, and I told her I'd open it on camera today. It's a, I know what it is, but I don't know what it looks like or anything. So let's do it. Maybe we can use it today. I'm assuming I have the right kind of blades for it. It says tear here. Let's just do that. That way I can get that plastic off there too. Oh, it's still an Olfa. Oh. Oh, you're sending me a blade too? One of these endurance blades? Oh my goodness, thanks. Oh, okay, let's check it out. All right, so apparently you can change the blade with a single click. Oh, I'm very intrigued by this. I don't have to change the blade though today because there's a blade in there. I'm going to save this for the directions. So it says, there's actually a demo video, so we can watch that sometime. And when I'm ready to change the blade, maybe we'll watch it together. Make sure I do it right. It's left-handed or right-handed. Oh, I mean, so this is interesting because I love that it's the same silhouette as my tried and true Olfa. And look at how this one has, it has these two sliding things right here. Blade change. Oh, and look, blade change. It just says blade change right here. I want to try it. Wait, I just want to know what does this do right? Is this like the safety? Oh, that's the safety. Okay, this is just the safety right here. Oh, 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 that is really cool. Look at that. That's so cool because I've never cut myself on the top here, but I've thought I could, you know? Shem, that's too much. Hey, Christine. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. So you see how only one half is retracting? So then, yeah, you could make it left or right-handed. But you could also do both, which, you know, that's how this one is, see? So this is a little safer. Yeah, that's what makes it left or right-handed because you can cover half the blade. And the fact that it's symmetrical. Because I have this other one, and I would argue that this is right-handed because unless you can put the blade on this side. Oh, I think you can actually put the blade on this side. Maybe not. Oh, yeah. You can put the blade on this side, and then it would be left or right-handed. Mine's right-handed right now. Some people might be going, well, how does that make it right-handed? I always cut with the blade, like the fabric is on the inside of the blade. So whatever I'm cutting is against the blade like this, and I'm looking at it. So if I was cutting it, how do I, so I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't put the piece I'm cutting on the back side of the knife. I would always put it on the side facing the blade. It's a lot more accurate, safer, right? So, I know. Hey, Blair, how's it going? All right, so let's see. I want to understand this blade changing thing. It just says quick blade change. That doesn't actually tell you how. There is a little picture. Let's just do it. So it says, oh, okay, so I just slid this little thing and this whole mechanism came off. So then you could just pick up your blade and then toss it. That is actually a little easier. And then put it back on and slide it shut. That's actually pretty slick. That's actually really slick because right now, this is what I do, right? I have to unscrew this thing right here. And then there's this little washer. If you lose this little washer, you can just throw your cutter in the trash because it's never the same again. You have to pull this up. You have to slide this off. And when you slide this, you have to slide this off, which is kind of part of the problem. When you're putting a new one on, the grease on these can sometimes be so stiff that it's pretty hard to slide them off already from the package. So you still have to do that, but you at least don't have to deal with it on the thing. This is pretty cool, Kira. Thank you. I'm into it. I got a gift, Rachel. I got a gift from Kira of this Olfa cutter in my left hand here. And you can change the blade with one button right here. So you just slide it off and it just goes pop, it just pops off. And so this is a left-handed cutter if you want to use the protection feature so you can split the blade. So this is covered, so like my old one is like this. I only have this option, so the whole blade is revealed. But this one you can split both sides, either side, so then you can do both, or you can do one or left, or one left or right. This is really cool. I'm excited. Someone else gave me a gift of a rotary knife cutter a couple of years ago because they just wanted me to have another position to put my hand in. And I still use that one. I think it's at home. It's a Fiskars one. My only issue with it is that, where is that thing? I might be at home. My issue with that one, because it's kind of a similar shape as this one. So it's got the ergonomic type of handle. You have to squeeze it to use it. That one you don't have to squeeze. You push a button right here. My problem with it is that a lot of times this will just pop closed. So, and it's gray. It's gray and orange. It's a Fiskars one. And I don't have Fiskars blades. So I use that one kind of, that's why I have it at home, because it's not going to get as much use, and so I can preserve it. So, yeah. Yeah, I know, right, Nancy? Yeah, I've got that down pat, but you know, this is pretty slick. Like that is, look at this. So you just slide this back right here, and then it just all comes off. That is pretty, and then you just put it down and slide it back on. Whoops, okay. Make sure it's all the way down. Yeah! Okay, I'm gonna try the split thing. I feel like that's not enough surface, but we'll see. This is fun. Is there really, Shem? Oh my goodness. I disable ads that have the little, you know how there's all kinds of different ads you have on your YouTube channel, and there's the one that's actually covering the video. I disable all those. I could make a lot more money with ads. I complain about ad revenue, but the thing is I only have skippable ads before and after the video set up. There are a lot of different options that you can do. I could put all of them on, and I just think people would click away, you know, so I don't do that. But I definitely disable the ones that cover the screen. And I really hate it when sewing YouTubers, sorry if there's any sewing YouTubers that do it, like respect, the grind it's a grind, right? You need the money. But we can't see what you're doing when you have those enabled. And it's really hard to touch that little X to get rid of it. So that's just my feedback. So yeah, they are. They are, Kira. You totally ruined your Olfa cutting something plastic. Oh, yeah. Hey, Sydney. Okay, so today and tomorrow, this is only today and tomorrow, limited time only, live streams. Like I said, I don't usually live stream this week. I have a bunch of workshops this week, and I actually have to take Friday off and pack for my trip because I don't have time otherwise to do this. So I don't really go out of town very often. I love traveling and stuff, but we're gonna go see my daughter next week. It's her birthday on Friday, and it's also Thanksgiving here, so it'll be fun. We're going mostly for her birthday. So I thought I would squeeze in this stream and get it done as soon as possible so I can send it off to Hart so they can put it up in their store. And we're doing this Ellsworth shirt by Merchant and Mills. It's got very traditional details for like the collar and collar stand, and even a sleeve with a placket. But it doesn't have a set-in sleeve. It's got this really wide, loose, boxy shape. The back is longer than the front, and it's a pop-over placket, so it doesn't go all the way through, which you could actually make it go all the way through if you want. That'd be really easy if you don't like sewing these kinds of things, but we're gonna do it, and it's gonna be easy, so, because I love sewing these things. It'll be just fine. You'll see. The thing about these is that you have a lot of opportunities to cover up all of your sewing, so it's great. So I encourage you to look at the Merchant and Mills site for how this fits, because it's a very loose, wide, boxy look. It's not a traditional button-up shirt look. So I'm actually really intrigued by this. You know, I'm a big fan of set-in sleeves, but this, you know, with the collar and collar stand, that's going to seat it better, a little better on the body. But don't put it past me that I won't make this again, and I'll add a set-in sleeve to it. I think it would be a really fun thing to do, and I might even try and squeeze a tutorial in for my shirt making sew along right now on how I would do that. It's in my sleeve skill building session already, but it would be fun to show it on a actual button down shirt, so that would be kind of fun. We're using this plaid from Hart, and it is Madras, what is it? Madras stretch poplin. So it's actually a stretch poplin. It's nice and crisp and smooth. And the color, I think, is called melon, because it just says Madras stretch poplin melon. Could this be made out of knit to make it like a sweatshirt? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm using a stretch today, and I think it is pretty stretchy, but it's obviously more stable than, say, a knit. Stretch woven's different than knit. So, yeah, I think you could. I think you don't want something that, I think you should pick a knit that has a lot of structure, not something that's gonna like sag, because there's not a lot of structure to this shirt. There's only a shoulder seam and a side seam, and that's it. So you probably need to think about what kind of knit fabric you would do. You know, like I was just thinking about it today because I have this really interesting fabric that I got from Minerva as part of the ambassador program. It's a knit and it's quilted. Can you see that very well? So the backing is like a scrim on the back. Can you see? You cannot see that at all. But the backing is just like it's like a scrim on the back, right? Just to stabilize it, because it is a quilted fabric. There is batting inside there. See that? And this, you know, is stretchy, but it's not overly stretchy. Like this actually has a lot of stability. It would be kind of a good example of what I'm talking about. I really need some ideas of what to make that in. I'm so intrigued by it, right? And so it comes in lots of fabric colors, Shem. And I'm an ambassador. And I have affiliate link. Yeah, French terry would be an excellent choice. Or a piqué, you know, like what fabrics they use to make polo shirts. So that's an option. Some fleeces aren't very stretchy. But if you were to pick, say, like a bamboo fleece or a bamboo knit or a rayon knit, you're talking about something that might feel like you're swimming in it. I would size down, in fact, because it's just going to feel like it's kind of just dripping off of you. You know what I mean? Oh, that's a great idea, Sydney. I really need to clean my glasses. I'm sorry, I'm really bad about doing that before the stream lately. I'm just bad about doing it in general, but it's really hard to see like the screen plus what I'm doing. All right, so I want to tell you more about this fabric. It's 60 inches wide, and it is a cotton and spandex blend. And the item number, if you go to Hart's fabric, oh, you know what I need on my screen is our little Hart's logo. Oof, I don't know if this is it. It is, yay! Yay, so we have a little 10% off code. I'm gonna just make this big for you guys so you can see it. I don't say it out loud because people, they can taint the code and then we'd have to get a new one. And I don't type it anywhere. But this is it. I mean, I'll say it, 10 so. Just don't type it in chat or anything. But you get 10% off anything at Hart's. It doesn't have to be this project. We need like a whiter background because I have the fabric right now folded up there for a reason. Yeah, okay. I'm just catching up on chat. All right, so they also wanted me to highlight that they carry extended sizes in another package. So they must divide their sizing by package. This package here is the 6 to 18. I'll be making the size 14 as requested by them. But let's check out the measurements here. So the chest isn't going to make much of a difference as far as if you're between sizes here because it's very unconstructed. It's very wide. Let me actually just pull up some pictures of this thing. Because I want to have my keyboard over here. I have my machine set up today too because we're going to go straight into sewing for a little bit. And we're going to do that front placket. So let's see. Should come right up because it knows me. Because I've Googled this on 3 different computers right now. Hopefully my camera, my microphone's going to work here. So let's see here. It doesn't really matter. Here we go. We'll just United Kingdom. Okay. So I want you to see the kind of loose boxiness. You see this, how it's hanging? There's not even a back yoke. Here we go. I have to pop out the chat so I can see you guys a little bit. Boy, here we go. Isn't it the worst when you're watching someone struggle to use the computer? Can I cycle through these? I guess not. Yeah, the package is size 18 to something. Only one size overlap. Guess which size I am in their pattern. Oh, no. That is a tough one, Mullen. All right, so look at, you can see this kind of side detail and that silhouette with the drop hem there and the vent on the side. It's a 3/4 length sleeve with a cuff and a placket. This is perfect right now for my shirt sew along going on. Look at how this reacts. Okay. This is it from the front. So just so you get an idea of what this looks like, look at this picture. I love this skirt. I love this thing. I'm like, can I pull this off? I hope so. I'm just trying to note, you see how this like swings out a little bit? So, oh yeah, here, this is the one I'm looking for. See how wide that is? Note the drag lines right here. See those drag lines right there? That's just what's going to happen because it is not a set-in sleeve, all right? But because of the really narrow nature of the sleeve down here at the cuff, it is probably going to be more comfortable than a lot of other shirts that don't have a set-in sleeve, all right? All right, let's get to it. Where'd my chat at? There we go. Restore chat. I said restore chat. Don't freak me out like that. Where'd you all go? It just stayed empty. Hopefully I haven't missed anything. Maybe put it back on live chat. Lauren Guthrie, nice. Way just arrived. Woo woo. I'm a pro member at Swimmer and they have been hitting me. Oh my gosh. The sales are nuts right now. Oh, you harvested it? What fabric are you using? I'm curious. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Mullen. And that, I think that the upshot of doing something like a knit in this though is that the knit kind of will be fluffier and cover up a little bit of your discrepancies with the sewing. Yeah, so, or maybe that's just the Pollyanna in me talking. Okay, let's do it. What's going on over here? Here we go. All right, I got a new cutter. Got our packet. They sent along some like grayish green buttons. The thread's on my machine right now already. All right, the pattern pieces are really hard to see. They're really faintly printed, except for the font. The font is amazing. Look at this collar stand. Look how huge this is. It was cracking me up. I posted a picture of it in the guild. I was like, oh my God, they are shouting at me. Ellsworth, Merchant and Mills. This is so funny. I mean, no disrespect to Merchant and Mills, but Merchant and Mills, here's the deal. At this point, I have already bought the pattern. It is in my possession. I have cut the pieces apart. I am about ready to cut it. Do you know what I want to see really large on this pattern piece? Not this. I want to see this. I want to see that. Oh, man. Useful graphics. Okay, Carol, see you later. A white linen. Ooh, okay. I need to do that too. I have so much white linen right now. All right, I have folded my fabric this way because, And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to keep it this way. It's 60 inches wide. We're going to do a little bit of plaid matching, and I only want a single layer of fabric. So my idea is that, and I always accordion fold my fabrics. So I can just pull this off like this. As long as I don't cut into the fabric stack, we're okay. And now I can cut this right side up, right? The only issue with this is that these pieces are probably place on the fold, but let's check out, oh, this isn't even going to fit on my table. Let's check out, we're doing the size 14. I want to see how big this is. So if you are looking for fabric, where's my ruler? If you're kind of wondering, like, can you get this across on the fold because it's all one piece? Let me tell you what the width is on the largest size. So the size 18 is 24.5 inches wide. So don't get a 44-inch wide fabric for this unless you're okay with cutting it on the cross grain. All right? Yeah, Jim, yeah, exactly. All right, this is still just too big for my table. I really wish I had more table over there. I'm not even sure how to get this, except I think I'll just cut off a piece of fabric. So let's just cut off a piece of the fabric, and we'll go at the top right here of this plaid. I get to use my new cutter now. It's this one here, all right. Oh, it just feels just like my old one. Awesome. It feels, it's so funny how it feels different. Oh, it's thicker. I've been using this thing for like 20 years. I know it very intimately. All right, let's pick this up, put that there. My table's only like 30 inches deep for the streaming. I do need your island. I know when I cut really huge things, I have a really huge, one of my old tables. I have one still set up at my house, and it's in the garage. And I have like a brush that I dust it with. It all works out. All right, so we're doing the 14. And let's think about this plaid. So I'm not going to go into depth about plaid matching, mainly because I'm only going to be cutting and sewing this in 2 days, all right? And also because I have a whole skill building session on that in my guild. If you're really interested in plaid print matching and stuff like that, yeah, I would really like it if you would check that out, you know? So because there's so much more than I can just mention right here standing in front of you to do this, and I have so many thoughts about plaid matching and stuff. So because this doesn't have anything but the placket in the center front, I'm probably only going to be concerned with either the shoulders or the side seams. I don't know quite yet. Like, this is how I can check. If these two are identical in width, and they're not, I most likely cannot match the shoulders and the side seams. I'm sure someone will tell me I can, but it will be luck if that happens, because it depends on what the grade is versus the interval of the plaid. So there, all right. You've reached a stash nirvana of no desires. I went to the studio with a friend who weeks ago and bought nothing. Wow, show off. Nancy, exactly. So I kind of want to sew the front or cut out the front first. It's what I really should have based the length on. Thankfully, we're okay. So I'm usually looking to see, is my plaid like one way? Is it symmetrical? Can I cut my pieces upside down and right side up? I usually don't take that risk because you just never know what you might miss. This one's very obviously Not a two-way plaid. It is a one-way plaid for sure. I mean, you've got this whole thing right here. It's not mirrored, right? It's probably not mirrored this way either. It's not because of this. You just kind of get the hang of looking for things. So, all right. So let's put this, what do we think? Do we want to put this like in the middle of one of these lines here? What gets me close to this edge over here? This is the 14. Like that. I keep putting that line on a plaid, but it's not straight. Let's put it on this black line right here. Oh, neat. You love your boxes. So if anybody has ever wanted to sew the Caroline pajamas by Closet Core Patterns, pretty sure I can say this now. And you've been curious about needle sharp subscription boxes, you might want to pick that one up if you want, or ask for it for Christmas, and you should order it right now. Just saying. Because I will be, I'll be there to help you out. All right, let's cut this. So I'm just going to put this on the fold here, and the way I'm going to prevent myself from turning the corner and cutting straight up, because I was just thinking about doing that, is going across it like this. And let's just go for it. This cutter feels different. It's so funny how I can tell. This has a little vent right here, and there's a little notch, so what I do is I cut into the little vent there. And then it's the paper that didn't get cut, the fabric did. Then I can go straight up, peel it back like that. Now, ooh, new blade. Now the sleeve hem, can I put that hem facing there? I don't think so. There's a hem facing. The sleeve hem isn't going to line up on a plaid. So if that's really triggering for you, you could line it up on a plaid. Your sleeve may hang a little funny. You know what I mean? So, you know, you could pick a line and go, all right, my 14, this is the 14 right here. All right. And if I folded this back on that right there, see how off that is? Oh, you can't see a darn thing. Let me turn off my face cam for a minute. So you see how this doesn't line up on the plaid there? So what you could do is split the difference, right? You could pull this side down and this side up, something like that, if this is something that would really bug you. Now, you don't have a right angle anymore down here, so you may end up having a point when these two seams come together, and same up there. So it's just something to be aware of. All right. You still have the rain jacket? The Closet Core, the pajama box. Hopefully it's not too late. I wasn't sure if that was for sure happening because she asked, and then I didn't hear back from her for a bit. Otherwise, I would have told you guys sooner. So hopefully it's not too late. It could be. Rain jacket, needle sharp box. You live in Seattle or like Washington, in a rainy area. I guess you don't need a raincoat. This is really awkward. I don't recommend this. But, you know, that's because I'm on camera. Okay. All right, so we're going to notch the center front right here. And then there's a little drill hole right here. And the way I'm going to fold this over is I'm going to put some pins on this piece of paper next to the fold, not inside the pattern piece, just outside of it, just like this. Oh, fun. Fun, Nancy. She's so good at picking out fabrics for all of her boxes. She's really, Needle Sharp is a great place to shop for fabric too. Because she gets really good fabric and for her boxes, and then she has extra at the end. So she sells it, and it's usually on sale. And it's good fabric, like fabric you'll recognize. So see how I did that? So if I pin on the fold line on the left of this fold line here, don't pin on the inside of the pattern, because when you fold it over, it won't be enough space for you to get right back on this center fold line here. So when I fold it over like this, it lands, you can, if you're a little too, the shirt's a little too much that way, you can slide it onto the fold here, but you kind of get the knack for what you need, and then it's perfectly on. And then we're gonna look at where this is. The other thing you can do is just flip your shirt over. Always a great way to do it too. This is a massive piece. It's off the screen, sorry. Oh, really, Nancy? That's so brave. All right, I'm gonna look at the, I'm looking at the point of the hem right here and just seeing where it's landing over there. Making, like I'm looking at this black line right here and going, that's about a ½ inch from, you can't see either one of these. This black line right here, or whatever color it is, this one right here. I'm just making sure that that is the same distance up on that side, and it's actually pretty good. And then same here at the hem. This landed almost on this a little white line here. And this one's a little bit higher than the white line. Oh yeah, this one's a little higher, okay. Let's just make sure. Like that. There we go. All right. Just make sure you don't go up your fold. That is something I would do. Once we get these big pieces off the table, it'll be a little more visually interesting to watch me cut. And then we're going to sew it. This is my first Merchant and Mills pattern. I like things to fit, like I like set-in sleeves, and I don't like to be swimming in things. I love the aesthetic of Merchant and Mills, but I feel like it's, like on me, it's gonna look a lot different. So I've been kind of cautious about, you know, jumping in. I'm really excited to do this though, because I have never even seen one of their patterns in person. There we go. Okay, so the only markings, let's check this out here. There's a vent right here. There's not really any notches to speak of here. There's a notch right here at the shoulder. But really you're just worried about this placket at this point. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna peel back. I'm gonna put this in here at the 14. I'm going to peel this back, pull the pin through like that. I'm going to put it back on like this, and then mark the other one. With navy linen, that sounds nice. Yeah, have you made any Merchant and Mills patterns? Any of you? Is it Taya that said she loves the whole Merchant and Mills? Where every project is a navy solid. There we go. All right, and then I have this notched at the top at the center there. I think also, like, I'm not sure they had a lot of sizes to speak of for a while, so I just wasn't using their patterns for the live stream. I really want to do a retrospective and see how how good we were this year, or I was, on sewing patterns for size inclusivity. Okay, so we have this little piece here. And then I have this other back. And I'm just going to look at some of these pieces here and set this aside. Save it. Yeah, their fabric is pretty amazing. All right. Okay, so let's get out our other piece here. I just folded it up all nice. And so if I wanted to match the shoulders, I'm going to spend 2 minutes on this to see if it's possible. I'm not going to spend an hour on it. All right, so I'm going to put this shirt on the fabric so that it lines up to the plaid. Okay, it's way up here. All right. Way up there. They gave me a lot of fabric. Thank you for doing that, Hearts. I don't think I've ever done any like plaid matching for any of their projects. The Miller waistcoat. Ooh, hey Beverly. The Ellis and Hattie dress, the Edie blouse, the trapeze dress, and some. Oh wow, cool! You made a lot. I love it. Plaid charmeuse sounds. That sounds pretty epic. Okay, so you can't see my shirt. Can you see? This is it right here. Here, I'll put something underneath it so you can kind of see where it's at. All right, we'll just put my ruler here so you know where this is at. Okay, and now I'm gonna line this up at the shoulders, which basically means I have to line this up at the center back here, right? And let's see if I'm going to be able to match, because I might be able to. I might be able to, actually. Ooh, okay, okay. So we just need to get this here. Yeah, because remember, oh, no. This is a drop tail hem. So I'm going for this one. Don't line it up from the bottom of the hem if you're matching a plaid. I love how I'm confidently drawing on my garment with a Sharpie through this tissue paper. Really smart, huh? Oh, there is a notch right here. Where was that? I didn't see that notch. Okay, let's put this on here and here. But then we can slide this over to the center back. Maybe. 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 Blue linen gang. It's kind of odd because if I put this black, the centerfold line on this black line, right? If I do that, this comes out further than my sleeve. Here's my sleeve right here. And my pattern piece goes past that, right? So that's because the back is wider. And I'm just trying to get it lined up so that potentially it'll match horizontally, at the very minimum, right? All right, I'm gonna try that. We will see. Where's my piece? My piece is like over there, okay. in her back. I'm gonna put this paper here, and you here. I'm gonna slide this out like that. Slide this out and cross our fingers. You went to Joann's from Thread and didn't even look at the fabric. I mean, I don't either. Like, usually I go there because I need a notion of some sort or something I know that they sell. Like, one of the things I used to get there a lot was the inkjet printer sheets. They were made by June Taylor. And I used to use those to make labels. I used to hand make all the labels for my product line. It was actually cheaper. And when I see people and they're like, oh, I still use your blah, blah, blah. And then I see the pattern, the thing it has an old label. I'm like, wow, that's from a long time ago. All right, I'm gonna cut this piece of fabric off straight across. And I'm just gonna cut it on this line right here so that I can just get this off the table. And then this will be our last huge piece to cut because we don't have to do sleeves or anything. You get a lot of cutting done with a pattern like this, right? All right. Okay. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise that the vent here is a drop tail. Just looking at that, and I feel like that this is higher. Okay. Okay, I guess that is the same part of the plaid, it's just in a different color part. All right, let's do it. I'm going for it. We're gonna go like this so I don't accidentally cut across the back, the cut up into the back. That's interesting. This doesn't have the vent sticking out on the back. All right. This cutter feels lighter than my other one. Straight across. And then let's go across the top. I hate it when my body gets under the camera. One, two, three, okay. Straight across. Lift it up. This. Flip. Put that line right in the middle of that black plaid line there. There we go. All right. I almost went like this. Not even funny. Okay. Sometimes I am just a menace to my own projects, you know? I just think I'm so clever. I'm so efficient. Now I've made it cost myself 10 more hours. Okay. Thank goodness for a sharp blade and a crisp fabric so I can get way back there. All right, so there is some notches down here at the hem, and that's probably for the back, center back waist facing. I'm just going to put a double notch, one notch on either side of the center back tier. That'll be enough for me. And then, what does it say? Notch center back by snipping. Okay. I just did that. And then there are some pleat notches for the cuff and the sleeve hem. I'm going to do the center back neck. And then we're going to do these pleats here. Notch, notch, notch. Where's the slit? Oh, this is the slit. Oh, there's just one little tiny pleat, it looks like. Okay, so this right here is the slit. All right, so I'm gonna put a pin at the top of the slit. This is for the sleeve placket. You know, I might take a chance. If this were my garment, I would probably take a chance and not interface this fabric. I think that it's sturdy enough and tightly woven enough and crisp that you don't need interfacing. Just a thought. Sometimes it's a, you know, it's a helpful choice. Like if you wanted that kind of like rumpled, casual look, you know, leaving out interfacing will give that to you faster. Maybe you want something to be lighter weight and really, really crisp, like this for this one. You could leave out the interfacing. All right. Let's mark this here. So I just usually put a pin at the top of the slit right here for the sleeve placket. And then when I get to making the sleeve, I'll just cut straight up from the little notch down here to that pin. They don't draw the slit on there, which isn't usually how you see them marked, but I can tell that since there's a notch directly under it, that's what that's for. Where does it want interfacing? Oh, well, I think like the collar stand, plackets, all of that area is what I was thinking about, Sydney. See, look, these shoulders don't even match to each other. I may have made a grave mistake. We'll see. We will see. All right, so now we have the rest of these pieces. And we have fabric. And let's just hope we are good. Oh, we have a lot of fabric. All right. I wanted to show you one thing about these pattern pieces. Okay, this is scrap. These are cut pieces. I have 2 cut pieces in there. Yeah, I just want to make sure I don't cut into the body pieces because they are really big. They look like scrap fabric because look at this big piece of scrap fabric I have. This is all scrap right now. I might be able to get everything out of that. So what's really cool about these pattern pieces is, can you see the texture they printed on the cuff here for interfacing? That's pretty cool. Well, I mean, usually they'll have the like slit marked on there. They may not give you a measurement, but the mark, I just put a pin at the top and I just clip it when I get there. All right. The seam allowances are surprisingly 5/8 of an inch, so I'm going to do a couple of things to make this easier to sew later on that you may or may not agree with. You don't have to do. This is the front hem facing on the fold, back hem facing on the fold. Probably not going to worry about matching plaid on those as much. I have the collar stand here, the top collar and under collar. This should be the front plackets. Yep, front plackets. The sleeve placket bias strip and cuffs. All right, so this is where we're at. So the thing I'm going to do is decrease the seam allowances on the collar stand, neckline, and collar down to 1/4 inch seam allowance because it'll be easier to sew. It'll be a lot easier to sew. Just saying. So I'm going to just trim that off real quick. I'm just going to draw it on here real quick. I highly recommend anytime you're doing a collar stand that you do this. It makes it just so much easier. You're not changing the finished dimensions of your collar or collar stand. And what happens is when you're sewing those curves to one another, the, where are you? It's this one here, okay. They'll be so much easier to stay lined up on top of one another if you have a smaller seam allowance. In fact, I told a story in my button-up sew-along that I've made the Archer by Greenline Studios at least 6 times, probably more. That's a women's button-down shirt. And the first 2 times I made it, I got it pre-printed on fabric through Sprout Patterns, which is no longer around. And that was through Spoonflower. I'm trying to find this line, and it's really hard to see. There it is. And I think on that one, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure the seam allowance on Spoonflower Sprout Patterns wasn't printed. The fabric wasn't printed, so it was white. So it was very clear where you needed to be for the seam line. After that, when I would sew the Archer, you know, a year or 2 later, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make another button down. I have this pattern I got from that. I made it, and my like industry trained brain just sewed that at like industry standard seam allowances. I didn't look at the directions at all because it's a standard button down. I didn't need it. And if you look at those finished Archers, the collar is bigger, the collar stands a lot taller because I used 1/4 inch seam allowances, not the 1/2 inch I was supposed to use. And so they are a 1/2 inch taller. So do I always cut paper with my new blades? Well, I mean, the way you phrase that makes it sound like I'm looking for paper to cut. It's tissue. I always cut everything with my rotary knife. I am not that discerning about that. Which one is it? It's 1, 2, 3. It's this one here. Okay. This one here. I'll just draw it in. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't really think it dulls our blades as fast as we think. I could be wrong though. I've never noticed any negative impact. That being said, you see me do a lot of tutorials using my rotary knife for pattern drafting, and like I always say it during those, I never use my rotary blade for real pattern drafting. I'm only doing it to cut corners and save time during the tutorial. And I don't do it with real drafting, not because I'm trying to save my blade, but because it's not as accurate at all. So, and that's just because the scissors I use are so accurate. So, oh, look how this is a tissue though. I mean, paper is a natural fiber. I think the ironic thing about kitchen scissors getting in the mix with sewing stuff is that kitchen scissors cut everything, not just paper. So I wonder really how bad it is. All right, so I'm going to take my neck on these, and I'm going to trim these down as well. Because I just changed the seam allowance on those, so I want to change the seam allowance on these. So I'm just going to directly trim this off. It'll be easier to use the end of my ruler here like this. Actually, it'll just be easier for me to eyeball it. I'm not too shabby with that. There we go. And then I'm going to notch that again. So it's the front, and then here's the back. Yeah, that's what I think too, Taya. Yeah. I certainly don't want to get into an argument with someone over it because I really don't know. I don't know the science about it, you know. But I've really the only time I've really had a problem with people using my scissors is when I had roommates and they would cut like everything with those things. Carpet, you know, hair. I mean, hair wouldn't be a big deal. But yeah, it never really, you know, packaging, and they're wrenching on the scissors, you know, and they're like, oh, where's Sammy's fabric scissors? Those are sharp. And it's like, what? No. Do whatever you want, Nancy. You could always have a dedicated rotary knife for your paper. Yeah. Yeah, I think having multiple rotary blades, this is why I have this one for my pinking blade. I could never have afforded this pinking shear blade except that I got it during one of those 40% off sales. I know that's kind of terrible to say, but it's not something I use very often. It was a splurge. I wanted to use the coupon once, so that's what I used it on. And I've had the same one for forever, so. Oh, it's fine to do that on those endurance blades, Kara. That's interesting. All right, so we have an undercollar that's placed on fold. Back hem facing. I just wanted to see if this was going to fit here, because wouldn't that be kind of cool? Look at that. It actually does fit right here. Ooh. I think I'm going to do that. That's why I left that one on the fold. Nice. Team scissors, yeah. There you go. My biggest problem with my blade is me. Literally, it's me. Like I touch these things with my blade more than anything. That's the worst thing I do to them is I'll accidentally pull my arm back like this and I'll just touch that and it's ruined. So that's really, it's this one. I'm going to do a double notch there. That's the back hem. I'm going to hang that there. We got this piece cut. We still need this. And let's see, did I cut the other one off or did I leave it intact as well? That wasn't it, right? I think I cut the other one off, didn't I? Shoot, that would have been nice. All right. Yeah, tell her, you want me to read the packaging, Libby? This is what it looks like. Olfa 45 millimeter endurance, cuts twice as long. Used for cotton, wool, paper, vinyl, and leather. Vinyl? That's where I would argue if synthetics dull your blade, vinyl is plastic. So, long-lasting blade made of special quality steel, perfect for all of your cutting needs. And then that's it. So, it must be a good day. Yeah, right? We're doing what we want to be doing. Should we do the cuffs on the bias? What do you guys think? We could do the plackets on the bias, the cuffs on the bias. Where's the placket at? Here it is. What do you guys think? Clear vinyl and, oh, I'm sure linen is fine. Cotton, wool, paper, vinyl, leather, and so much more, it says. It doesn't, it's in 3 different languages on the back, so I know it looks like there's a lot of text, but it really, it's just written 3 different times, so. Cuffs and plackets on the bias. No bias. Bias, no bias. All right. Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll. Start a Q&A. What was that? Here we go. There's a poll in the chat if you want to vote. Run over to the computer and vote right now. I don't know, Nancy. I was thinking that too, but it doesn't say that. I haven't noticed a difference with titanium blades. Wait, did I try those though? I feel like I tried them once. Okay. Ooh, if you don't want the bias, you better vote because the yeses are winning. $15 votes out of 43 people. I know how many are in here. If I'm cutting the cuffs and the placket on the bias, it's in the chat. Let me get this out and I'll cut the other hem facing while you guys are voting. Look at this big piece of fabric. Oof. They were very generous this time. All right. I'm just going to fold it in half. And let's see. You could totally match the plaid of your hem if you want. I am literally not doing that just to save some time, so don't be too disappointed in me. Okay, just sliding that over. If you're voting, you could also like the stream now too. Thanks, Jim. The engagement on the videos and streams have been so good. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. You guys are commenting a lot more, and I've noticed for sure. And YouTube comments are my favorite. Like, of all the kinds of engagement I get, YouTube is my favorite. Outside of the guild. Like, the guild is obviously my favorite no matter what, but this is what I do. This is where my content lives. Remember how the other day I was like, the flickers are on the roof here? They were banging on a metal vent. I couldn't record a video and they were banging on a metal vent up there. Someone in the Facebook group for my valley, it's the only reason I'm on Facebook is my where I live. Someone was like, how do you discourage the flickers from getting into your attic? All right, I'm closing the poll. You ready? Boop. Oh, Libby, I think that one vote for no was you. I'm sorry. Hi, Elena. All right, but it was pretty funny. People, their solutions. I was like, yep, we have been there. I understand your pain. They get into our attic. I've been up there in my pajamas with a bird in my jacket, carrying it down precariously down the attic stairs because they get in there and they can't get out. And they're so loud. Oh, nice, Sue. I'm glad. All right, so I'm going to, pretty sure none of these are wide enough for my collar stand. Oh, this one might be right here. All right, so maybe we can use that. So when I do plaid matching on a collar or a collar stand, the thing I usually go for is two things. For the collar, I try and center the center back collar on the same as the center back shirt, right? Just so it's like a nice continuous line, right? If you can. The other thing I think about though is when the collar comes around to the front, you know, let's pretend like I have all the pattern pieces. Where's the other collar? Why do I keep losing these pieces? Collar facing, bloop, 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 bloop. Did I lose it off the bat? Here it is. Okay. So if our collar, we'll pretend like this is the left and right collar. Oh, I can't really. Well, it comes around, right? So here's your collar point. Like this. Oh, on the inside. That could be, you might be able to do that. All right, Christine, have a nice night. So, you know, this collar point comes around and here's your collar stand and it's sewn like this. Oh, you know what? I'll show you here. Literally have a shirt right here that I'm sewing. So when the collar comes around, the thing I think about is this right here, this little juncture, right? And so this one buttons right over left, so it goes like this, right? And so look at this, this collar isn't very symmetrical. You see that? I have the stripes the same, but this little center thing, it is what's out down the center of this. And then in the back, let's see, did I do the center? I matched the center of the collar with this pleat, although I used the orange stripe for the pleat. So the orange stripe is actually the center. Don't ask me why I did that. See, so it continues down like that. So those are the kinds of things I look for or think about. Either intentionally not matching it or thinking about how it's going to come around to the front like this. You know, most people are going to wear their shirt like this unbuttoned, right? It's not going to make much of a difference. But when you have these horizontal lines, if you put these really big dominant lines in a place that runs up against like a seam or something, they can look really wiggly if you're sewing straight through them and you're not perfectly getting it spot on. Like what if the point of this collar stand landed in the middle of this big, you know, fat stripe here and on this side it didn't, right? It would look a little odd. So you're such an outsider. I love it. I would have not opted for plaid either, Libby. I think just because it's really satisfying to sew a plaid on the plaid, you know. Okay, Sydney. Good luck. See you tomorrow. Hi, Michelle. How's it going? So we could look at where this collar stand, you know, this little inner line, and where the seam is actually, so it would be 1/4 of an inch in from here, where it's going to land, and just looking at how it's positioned. So I'm not really going to go into the whole thing just because I said I have a whole thing on this in the guild, right? I'm just going to cut it out. I need 2 of these though. We have room to make this one on the bias. We could try that on the inside. It'd be fun. They would probably like that. I can get that right there. And the center back, which stripe is it? It's this one. It is see. It's this one right here. I don't know if I can get that there. Oh yeah, I can. Okay. All right. Because I cut it away, I have enough space. Like I'm making a smaller seam allowance. It's the only reason it's going to work. I really did that kind of cavalierly. Let's see, where's this point going to land? Right here on this lime green line. Perfect. Okay. Move that without moving it. Moving the paper and fabric. There we go. Is that the center back? I don't know if that's actually the center back. Oh, I lost my notches. Ah! Yeah, that's usually what I do. I usually transfer my notches. Sorry about that. I did this whole thing in the guild. That's why I'm like, not really. That is the center back. Okay. But let's transfer this. There's a lot of ways they do that. And probably the method that I knew about, Nancy, is a little bit old school now. Because they would do things like nail it to the table and stuff like that, or print it directly onto the pattern pieces, and then they would print the plaid directly onto the pattern pieces, cut the fabric out, tape it, glue it on there, and then you would line it up in the same spot. And then when they would do all of the cutting, like all the layers, they would stack the plaid up on top of itself. And that's how I would do it at Chicken Boots, because we would do motif centering, right? I'm just looking for this front little notch right here. Thank you, Merchant & Mills, for putting a notch right here. It is really, really important and helpful. Sorry, I'm having trouble focusing on this and talking about that, Nancy. Just a second. Because I need all these notches. They don't, Michelle? Wow. This is feeling a little willy-nilly right now, so let's put this away. We need one more collar stand. I'm really just trying to use up this fabric. That's why I'm like, all this fabric here and pieces here. So let's try and get rid of some of these big pieces, these scraps first. Yeah, like when we, like say we had a fabric and had a fox on it, right? And we wanted that fox to land on the bag or the case, needle case or whatever, in a particular place, right? We would lay out all the fabric and then trace the pattern pieces onto the fabric so that they were, the foxes was in the correct place. Then we would lay up the fabric on the table, stacking all the foxes. And so here's the problem with this. It sounds really easy, right? The problem is if the repeat between these foxes makes it so that the things you are tracing and the interval you're tracing them and the quantity you're tracing them. So say I'm getting on a tangent and this is a little detailed, but say we knew for every double we sold the same number of notions cases and clear wristlets and zip doubles, but we sold half as many project bags and a quarter of as many needle cases. That's how we would trace it. So if say it's like a 4, 2, 1, those are all numbers, not the word TO. 4, 2, 1 ratio, we would trace 4 doubles, 2 of the thing we only sold half as many of, 2 project bags, and then 1 needle case, right? We couldn't conceivably trace all of our products in that ratio in one cut on our table. That would be a really huge table. My tables were 16 feet long. by 4 feet wide. And so then if you have that ratio and you know that's pretty much your ratio of how you sell things and that's how you have to trace it off, but then the foxes don't repeat in a way that that length of that traced off copy of all your pieces doesn't work out to the same number, you have this strip of waste at the end of every layer of fabric. So if you trace this off and you layer it 40 or 60 times, and then you have that strip of fabric that's not even included in the cut, that's all fabric you've wasted. Potentially it's usable, but it's not included in the cut, and it also diminishes the number of layers you can do that you planned on. So it gets kind of gets really complicated. But they're doing something similar with plaids. They're lining it up, and now they have computers, laser cutters, and fabric spreaders to do this kind of thing. So, sorry. It's not easy. Let's put it that way. All right, here's my cuff. I'll put the cuff on the bias. And the way I'll do that is put a 45-degree line to this grain line here, like this. I'll draw it so it's darker. It's also just really wasteful. Like if you're a bigger company and you can actually design the plaid or check or whatever it is in relation to that exact thing I was just telling you, you can get, because they won't tolerate that kind of waste, by the way. Not at all. Like they wouldn't even move forward with the kind of waste we got. That's why it was always really disheartening when people would say something like, well, I really wish you would have put the fox here. And they just didn't, it was so complicated to explain, like, well, there's a reason why it's not. And it's not because we're trying to be mean to you. There was a reason why my business was profitable. But that I could still do some of those cool things, you know. I don't have 2 layers of cuff there. Let's move this down. Okay. I don't have this layer of fabric stops right here. That's what I'm looking at right now. And then let's put our placket on here right now. I'm never going to get to the sewing if I take so long. Yeah, probably, Michelle. There's a lot of reasons, I think. All right, we'll just put it there. I gave a whole explanation in the button down and button up so long, too, on how to calculate your cuff size before you cut it out. Because that's, I feel like one thing a lot of pattern companies don't get right is the cuff size. I cannot see what size I am supposed to cut here. It's the long dashed one, this one here, okay. Yeah, right, Elena, I mean, it does kind of, it normalizes it for sure, right? In fact, I posted those pictures in the guild the other day because I was watching a show and I was so fascinated by the 2 hosts. Their pattern matching on their shirts was so different, right? One of them had all these motifs on it, and it really disrupted the cool fabric because everybody kept talking about, oh, we want his jacket, blah, 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 right? And then the other guy, they intentionally mismatched the pocket flaps, and they and mismatched them in a way to make them symmetrical to each other and the opposite of the plaid that it was going to, and I thought it was kind of genius. Awesome, Nancy. I know it's a little detailed and a little abstract, and it's really hard to understand all that without seeing it. You were one of the only ones I know that like watched all of the design and manufacturing series I did, because you would always comment, you're like, I have no idea about any of this stuff, but I love watching it. I always loved seeing your comments. Yeah, and I'm obviously pretty out of touch with factories now, right? But I can speak to how it was when we had a lot more manufacturing in our country. Oh, cool, Kira. Endurance blade equals made from strong tool grade tungsten steel, will stay sharp longer, cut through more layers, thickness, and not chip. Okay. Titanium blade equals regular blades with titanium coating. Okay. This is already relaxing. You can't start relaxing now, buddy. Oh, no, you're not. Okay. What are all these notches on here? There's a lot of notches on this cuff here. I don't really know why. But I'm not gonna notch it. There are certain patterns that are so large that when they're mismatched, it's distracting to look at for me. I don't feel like I'm like a purist or snob or anything like that as far as pattern matching goes. I'm open to whatever. But there are some things where I'm like, I cannot see what the pattern is or the motif on there because you've cut it up and it doesn't ever show you the whole amount, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's true, Elena. Yeah, and I've definitely seen snobby conversations where people are like, oh, that's budget. You know, they'll kind of shame it. Oh, wait, let's cut the placket. We're doing the placket too on the plaid, right? I need to pick up the pace here, good Duffy. Come on, let's do this. So you see, I just put my ruler, take my ruler, and you see how I have these squares, these darker squares? I take the point of the square, right? I line these 2 points up on the grain line, or any kind of straight line on the pattern. And then once I have that drawn or lined up, so here's my grain line, here's my pencils on the grain line, then I draw a line like this. And that's my new grain line that I keep parallel to the length grain of the fabric. Oh, interesting, Kira. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, let's see. I'm not sure about this red going straight through the placket here. Think we can get more green somewhere? I'm liking the green. Yeah, Nancy, of course. I don't think it's going to be possible to avoid that red stripe. It's right here, right? So we'll just go for it and embrace it. I don't think I ever finished that series, did I, Nancy? I found like it was more satisfying for me to do. And as I was doing it, I was already forgetting so much about running a factory, you know? Yep, Gadget Girl has spoken. She's going to get some endurance blades. The other thing I have neglected to do is cut off at the neckline the extra seam allowance here, and it's at that end. It won't really matter. But so I'm going to cut off the end of this front placket, that 3/8 of an inch, to make my seam allowance correct for the neckline. So if I do these, will they do it's going to look more like that. I'm just not going to worry about it. We're just going to see what happens. Sorry if this is triggering for people. I know. Well, there is stuff on Saturday. Like I had to come back for Saturday for that, so I didn't have to change that. I don't remember what it is. I live in the moment. Pretty sure it's a master group meeting. It's only literally, Shem, it's a normal week for you. Like this week is workshop week, so nothing's changing for you. Nothing changed except for Ask a Sew Question Show. That's the only thing that changed. And the fact that I would stream next week, but I streamed this week instead. That's it. So, there. I'm allowed a vacation. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm finding matching plaid really tedious today. I really apologize. I'll just be honest with you. I've been doing so much of it lately, and it's just like, ah. I'm not doing the best job, I admit. You might even get some sewing done. Right? I'm putting it on this plaid, that black stripe that I did for the center back. That's what I'm doing right now. Okay. You will have the full, I'm going to upload, I think, the full button up sew along. So you have that. You can treat it like a live stream and just watch it at 11 a.m. Pacific 3 of those days. I'm much more casual in those, aren't I, though? Than like a regular uploaded video. Nope. This line right here. I really need to... Top collar. I need to move this pin. These collars are pretty small, so I'm having trouble being able to cut across the center there. They're smaller along that center line. I'm looking at that plaid. That's a little more accurate right there. All right, we're gonna notch the center. Really, you just need the center notch on the interior curve. And then there's a notch on the, in the middle of this curve here, right there. But the chat, yeah, I mean, I wonder, can I do that? No, I can't do that. Huh. There's this thing where you can set up a video as a premiere. Like, say I have a new video out and I wanted to drum up some like excitement for it. I can make it a premiere. And then we watch it together, but you don't see my face cam or anything. Like, we're watching the video in all of our own homes, so to speak. Yeah, you'd have to do some, you could set up a Zoom and watch it. Okay, all right. I just want you all to know I've had so many really amazing emails this week for certain things coming up, and I'm really, really excited. I can't wait to share some of it with you guys. It's going to be really cool. At least for me it is. I'm excited. Whoa. Why are you acting like that? The little ball of my pin is pushing on the back of my blade. Here we go. All right. This is the under collar. Hey, Jane, nice to see you. They're all watching me butcher plaid today. I'm almost done cutting, and then I'm going to sew a little bit. I need one more collar stand. Oh my gosh, did we make it, you guys? We made it. All right, I'll put this one on the plaid like Shem says he likes. Let's just try it. I do not get to keep this one. It is not mine. And let's put it this way. Just put my grain line on. There we go. All pretense of matching is now gone. Yes. It lives at their store, so if you're ever, I can't remember if you're in California, but if you're ever at Hart's, you'll see them all on display there. And they can do whatever they want with them. They send me everything for them. So far, I think there was only one pattern I had to send back. They let me keep the pattern. They used to trace it off for me, and then they stopped. Now they just give it to me. And I know why, and it's why I said, you have to send me a pattern I can use, that I don't have to print or tape. That's my only caveat when people send me a project, because that just takes a lot of my time, tracing off a pattern or printing it, and it's not my typical way I put things together. I know a lot of people trace things off, and that's great, but I already have to print and tape so many patterns. And that's just cheaper for me to do. The copy shop thing is awesome. It's just not always practical for me. So they let me keep the extra fabric too, but there's generally, hopefully, not really much left over. This one has a lot. Like it has this, it's like almost a half yard of fabric plus the scraps. And and when I did the swoon bag, they would have said I could keep the hardware, but I sent it back because I know how expensive that hardware is. And they sent more than I needed. So I figure they could sell it. I would have loved to keep it. That's like one thing I actually would get use out of. But I was like, this is like $25 in hardware that I didn't need. Like, I don't need to keep that, you know? So, yeah, they're in Santa Cruz, exactly. All right, so I just need a little bit of interfacing here for collars, collar stands, and cuffs, plackets. I need a lot of interfacing. Let me rephrase that. Where is the placket? Is it in here? Yeah, perfect for pockets, right? Okay, so we want to interface the top collar, a collar stand, half of our center front placket, half of our cuffs. That's it. They sent me this, hence why I'm using it. Oh, really, Nancy? Oh, they weren't? Because I was just thinking, like, because I was about to offer that to Shem. Well, I could make them premieres, and then you guys would have a chat. But I was pretty sure I had to be there, so I could do that if you guys want. I'm pretty sure it stays unlisted. I want to be a little bit more judicious. I think the collar stand is maybe not going to fit across, but we'll see. All right. My iron is hot and ready to try it. Let's make this easier on myself. It's not even pinned. I kept holding it like it was pinned. There we go. So you can really see the little speckles that they put on the pattern piece when I put it on the, oh, maybe you can't. Do you see the little speckles on this half? It's kind of cute. All right, so we're gonna interface those, put those on the serger table. Oh, well, see, there you go. Aren't you glad I'm not streaming to distract you? See, it all worked out. We just need 2 halves of this. There we go. I'm going to be French seaming this too, just so y'all know. It's only the underarm and shoulder seams that get French seamed. I just sliced down the middle of my placket. I've never done that before. I've never held it up like that to use it as a, oh my God. Use it as an interfacing thing like that. Like that, the fact that they give, that's your pattern piece. Wow. Good thing I didn't have the fabric on there. We would be recutting. Figure yourself out, this will be great for pocket lining. Is that way too out? Like how much? I know, right? I know. Yeah, that's the funny thing. Like that's why I love the mulch mat things I make. Like I know people are like, no, Saremy, that's weird. But if you generate as many scraps as me, you cannot turn them all into quilts. Like it would, I'd spend my lifetime doing only that, you know? So that's not realistic. I'm being very realistic with my scrap usage by turning them into mulch. And I am so excited because like past weekend, we made a whole new compost bin for things I don't want in my regular one. Things like weeds, things that are invasive. I don't put those in my regular compost bin because I don't want to put that compost in the garden if it's already tainted with something like poison oak, you know? So when we did it, we had to get rid of some blackberry. And I was just like, oh, is this fruitless? Like, is this blackberry just going to come right back, you know, once we start composting on top of it? And then I was like, I'm going to put my mulch mats on here. And Michael was like, yeah, that's perfect because nothing grows under those. And they're really thick. And so I just put them all over at the back of the fence. So you're a closet core poof. Yeah. I already have one of those. It's like 60 pounds. Yeah. You just can't, right, Elena? Yeah. And like dog beds are not comfortable. They're too heavy. And here's the thing is like, I just feel like people just aren't honest about scrap usage at all. And like when I see scrap busting projects sometimes, I just think, God, you know, that's just not realistic. You know, like literally they're saying you could do this with pieces that are legit considered trash, right? And it's usable. I agree, totally usable. But you don't use very much. You know, like you actually aren't really dipping into the scrap usage. So I feel like being more honest about what really actually uses up scraps. I'm getting myself totally in a little, like, I'm like, I kind of want these to be symmetrical, you know? Exactly, Elena. Yeah, so like the idea of being like filling the closet core poof, yeah, that's great. It is actually a really good use. But if you need to wash the cover, getting the scraps out, like they have you make a removable bag for all the scraps, right? And you should do that. Don't skip that. If you want that thing to be washable, do not skip doing that. But the thing is, you still have to, when you unzip the poof and you pull out that bag, you have to pull out all the scrap, most of the scraps to actually get the bag of scraps out. So the better thing to do with the closet core poof, just if anyone's about to make those, is put the zipper around the edge right here and do a full half moon. Don't do it down the center. That's my tip. Right, Elena? Yeah, exactly. Get a lightweight ottoman. Exactly. Yeah, my scrap intervention workshop is mulch mats. Like most people have weeds to keep down of some sort. Yeah, right, Elena? Exactly. I know. Mine got so squished down that I added to it, and I was like, great, this thing's never moving. And it ended up being a step stool for my dogs. It's that sturdy. Brenda Banner shreds her scraps with scissors into tiny food pieces. It works better. Well, that's great, but she also makes like one garment for 6 months, right? Exactly, Martina. How many little zip bags do you need? This is the outer collar stand. Totally agree. Yeah, I've tried shredding mine too, and same thing. It also ruins your blades. Not ruins, but you're using up your blade. She probably doesn't even have a rotary blade, so she's using scissors. So my hat is off to her. And I like that she's shown that, you know, like that's how she does it to make it softer. But I wonder what she's actually making from them. Has she shown? I'd love to see. I'd love some ideas, you know. Because whatever she's making is probably really cool. You know, compared to whatever I'm making from them. So. She called her out? Yeah, all little scrap busting, but yeah, nothing for me says, oh, I'm not even going to say that. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, it is. It's really solid, huh, Elena? And I've used them for dog beds, but what I do is I put them on the bottom part of the dog bed, and then I put something soft on top. Oh, the hip padding. Oh, that's great. That's actually a really good use because those things need to be kind of firm, I think. All right, you guys ready to sew? Are you ready to sew? My bin is a hot mess. Let's do it. I'm going to turn off this light over here. Oh, no, I can turn it off from over there. Never mind. So let me get the mouse and keyboard and my water. Let's get ready to sew. Let me turn you around. Hi, Ray. How's it going? You would never, ever get into that wooden box again. Secret for forever. Okay. what Bernadette Banner's been up to lately. I'll have to check out her channel. Oh my gosh, my bin. All right. Let's layer the bin. She's your Zen place. I want to know what's in the box. Okay, so these right here are hem facings. We do those at kind of an interesting point. They're like the fourth step. All right, here's my collar stand, under collar, and collar. Sleeve plackets and cuffs are going to go together. I don't know why I still have the paper for some of these things. Mainly so I don't lose them, that's why. Cuffs. Center front placket, first thing. This is the front and this is the back. Get the directions out. Put the bin here. And then let's put this, okay, so cuffs, plackets, last, collar, second to last, hem facings before that, and now we're ready. Okay, this is the back, this is the front. Let me change some of the lighting and stuff like that a little bit. Dandy Wellington Cruise, who's that? Is that another content creator? Dandy Wellington. Is that how you're supposed to say it? Oh. My hair is so frizzy lately. Okay. Full little zip bags. Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so one of the things I wanted to do this year was make a gift bag every time I sewed something. And I just kept forgetting to put this in place because my idea is eventually to have a lot of just fabric gift bags, and you could have a little fun. Just make one for every project, right? Just use your scraps. It doesn't even matter if it's kind of funky because it won't matter when you use it as a gift bag or gift wrapping even. And I just never made that a thing. I think that is a really excellent way to do some scrap busting because, you know, even like a little linen bag, you put a little present in there. I know that sounds very decadent, but at the same time, you're like, am I really going to use this 12 inches of linen for something? And if I'm not, maybe I could use it as the bottom part of a bag, and at the top part could be a cute print of something. So, oh, he's another historical costume user. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm like kicking myself that every single month I forget to bring it up to the stream and I forget to do it at the end of every project, right? And it could be a part of the cutting out part. So it's sitting there ready to sew at the end, you know? And then, like right now would be a good time to go cut a plaid gift bag, right? Bye, Taz. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, right, Elena, exactly. And you don't have to make a bag. Even if you just finish the edges and then it's a wrap. And then you can use a ribbon to tie it shut, you know? So, yeah, I've really kind of failed on that whole endeavor. I even talked to Sam Chandler. Do you know Sam? Frugalissima? I was like, we should do this thing all year together. And she was like, yeah. We never talked about it again. So, yeah. Okay, so we're going to do the front plackets. I have my home machine out because we're actually going to have to do buttonholes right off the bat. Womp, womp. I hope they don't, though, Libby, right? I mean, hopefully they reuse it. Even if they're like, this thing's funky, I'll give it to so-and-so. Yeah, exactly. You think they would? I'm talking like, I was thinking like, ooh, this would be such a fun way throughout the year to experiment with different ways to construct a bag using what you have, because sometimes it may not turn out like you have an ideal bag shape. And you could drawstring. A drawstring is very easy to do. Exactly, Elena. Spoonflower has a lot of tutorials on that. A few. You love scraps for plaid pocket lines, underline. Yeah, me too. I mean, I love that too. But like someone said, like how many, and I do use weird fabrics for my pocket bags. I feel like we all know that, right? Let's bring this down a little bit here. Okay, so here's our center front neck. Yeah, that exactly, Elena. A lot of people do that too. Oh. Another great way to use fabric is making wax wraps. And I love wax wraps for wrapping food and stuff. I even have like ones that I've made the specific size to wrap an avocado. My avocados barely turn color at all. Oh my goodness, machine. I know, I said we'd sew. Phoenix is like, let's go. I've been on for hours. Right, Dylan? Exactly. That's a nice gift. All right, so I'm going to sew a box. So you see how we have that looks so big. Yeah, that's about right, though. Where they should be equidistant here. I'm going to sew a box around this whole thing. You don't have to do the whole thing. They actually only have you do down here. Maybe I'll just do down there. We'll just do down there. I'm going to shorten my stitch length. Yeah, right, Libby? I think like you could, because what if you made them so that some of them have the box bottom and some of them don't? Because, you know, you could have ones that don't have the like squared off corners, and that would be great for like a picture frame or something flatter, you know? So there's lots of uses for different bags. And if you just start making them and having them, something will come up, and then you could just make them kind of neutral. I don't know. Okay, let's make a pack that we'll do this next year. Okay, you guys? Tea towels, that's a good one too. Yeah, cover ice bags. Last year I used a lot of scraps for making the neck, the warm microwave neck thingy. Oh my God. And I made all the microwave bowls. So, okay, so I'm just gonna do a little box here. I'm gonna turn the corner at that marking. Yeah, exactly, Elena. We only need so many. I would love to stop buying gift wrap altogether, and I don't want to buy gift bags. I don't know. I could make them with the fabric I have. Between that and mulch mats, I'm set now. Are you winding? Okay, good job, buddy. Cheering on my bobbin winder over there. It was making a funny noise. Are you actually winding? I'm winding one bobbin onto another bobbin. All right, so we're going to cut straight down from that notch, straight down, a little straighter than I'm doing. And then when you get a significant, like a ½ inch away, cut into these corners. You're going to make that Y shape we always see. I'm making this look so awkward. Here we go. All right, just like that. I have too much stuff because of that sewing machine there. My avocado, well, I just made one like this big, so it's the perfect size for the avocado. You know, so it's not like a huge one, and you're like going, what do I do with all this extra wax wrap? I have notes and all this stuff and recordings to make a wax wrap video, but I just don't think people are that interested. And they were a great gift last year, in my opinion. I would have loved to get them. So, okay, so from the wrong side, yeah, exactly. Like that's why I say like adding them to the end of your sewing. And you cutting it out when you cut out your project, And then eventually you could have like 3 different patterns that you just plunk down and you're like, okay, this isn't enough fabric for this bag. So let me sew this fabric to another piece of fabric really quick. And then now I have a whole piece of fabric to cut out with this bag. So, all right, so from the wrong side, we're gonna put this, this is a little different than the directions because we're sewing it from the inside to the outside. We're gonna put this right sides together here. And this, of course, is a 5/8 inch seam allowance, I'm pretty sure, which is massive. Let me double check that. Tell me what the seam allowances are. I looked it up, but, oh, 1.5 centimeters. That's 5/8, right? I'm gonna double check it. Yeah, I leave in the pit. The other thing I do is I sometimes put an avocado in water face down. Okay, just double checking. You're stirring up trouble with that? Am I doing it wrong? I'm not exaggerating when I say, so once we started using wax wraps, our avocados stay a lot better. Like my husband instantly adopted doing it. Like he was like, oh, this is great. So this is on the bias. You can see it's kind of bowing out a little bit. So I'm just gonna try and rein it in. And we're just gonna go straight down and then connect with that stitching I just did around the box down there. And we're gonna go to the left of that stitching, so make sure you enclose it. Don't go past where you clipped. I can't see. This is a little easier to do on the other side. It's like from the, not from the shirt side. All right, so I'm gonna back stitch there like that. And I'm gonna flip it over and see how I did. Okay, that's not too bad. All right, let's just get that a little closer. I'm gonna hold up to the camera in just a second. Just needed one more stitch. Okay, that's really distracting. Can you finish winding that, please? Oh, is it a pineapple and pizza? Is it really? All right, so you see down here, here's my placket. This is the wrong side of the garment. There's the little cut. Remember I made that right there? So I stitched down there. Here's my stitch line right here. There's the stay stitch line. That's my stitch line right there. And so we just want that to go, that slit to go to that new stitch line. Okay, well, the wax you use is beeswax, but if you mix it with a few other things like pine resin and jojoba oil, then the wax will actually, the wrap will actually bend and be tacky and stick to itself. If you do straight up beeswax, you might be a little disappointed, but it is easier to do. So what I did was I used this Etsy seller. If you want the information of this Etsy seller, send me a message and I'll tell you who it was, because I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But they were amazing. And so what I did was I went to this Etsy seller because I didn't want to buy the pine resin and the jojoba because they can get really, really expensive. And you don't get it in quantities where you're like, oh, this much jojoba oil is perfect for making 10 wax wrap. No, it's enough to make 100 wax wraps, but you've only bought wax for this. So, right, so the quantities of these 3 ingredients end up being really off from each other. So there's this gal on Etsy that she makes these little bars, and everything is in the little bar, and each bar makes 1 wax wrap. And so I just did that. Because it was faster and easier and so much, just so straightforward. Okay, go down to that corner down there again now. I'm gonna clip into that a little better. Just make sure, because this one looks a little bit more lopsided like that. All right, and then now this is the right side, so now we're gonna pull this to the right side like this. That's why you don't want to stitch past that opening, otherwise this placket won't come to the right side. So let's go to the iron. Oh, you did, Elena. Ooh. I'm really enjoying this. Oh, Michelle, do you melt the wax, then dip the fabric in? You can do it either way. It's very, very fast. Once the wax is melted and on your fabric, as soon as the fabric is away from heat or anything, it starts drying. And so what I did was I would melt the wax on a cookie sheet in the oven on really low, and I took my fabric squares and I would lay them on the melted wax on the cookie sheet, use a brush to get any loose wax on the rest of my sheet, and that's it. And then you pick them up, they almost immediately start drying. And I used a clothing rack to hang them on. And it didn't even really do anything to the clothing rack. All right, we're gonna turn this. We can even like iron this back like this. So I think what I would recommend, I have all these notes, so I'd have to look at them, but my recommendation is have a dedicated cookie sheet and a really gigantic one. I go to the thrift store, get a cookie sheet that's huge, 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 as big as your oven will hold, because then you can have a bigger wax wrap, and you'll want bigger ones for bowls, right? Have a dedicated paintbrush. Line the bottom of your oven with foil, because if you get that stuff on the inside of your oven, you're going to send me a nasty letter, you know, because it'll start smoking. Don't ask how I know. All right, so look, your placket's already coming together, see? Doo-doo-doo. Okay. My little book with all my notes is right there if you have questions. I can get it out. Tangent-inducing questions, Saremy. Is that the February latest? It is. It's the pullover version by Amy Herzog. So it's a really easy, if you're not much of a lace knitter, it's an easy lace pattern. And that's why so many beginning lace people knit it. So, oh yeah, Nancy. Okay, so we're gonna stitch this down. I wish my bobbin would be done winding, please. You know? All right, so I just put that fold just past that first stitch line. And you're gonna stitch only up to where you've already stitched, all right? Don't go past, not even a stitch. It'll just cause you a headache and you'll have to undo it. You can even do a little bit shy, because it's gonna go to the back like this, see? Like this. Okay, so let's do this side too. So the thing that I'm doing is cutting a little square from little scraps so that after a lot project, I'm like, oh, that's kind of a nice idea, Martina, I like that. Is this going to be like these are all the fabrics I use to make garments, kind of quilt, but it's going to not ever look like it was made from garment fabrics? Yeah, that's really cool. If you did an intervention on Scout, but I have a 6 active project. Yeah, that's what I did last year, Shem. I was like, I need an intervention on the scraps. I keep putting them in this bin. The bobbin is dangling in the air because it's done being wound. There we go. Thank you for your service. This is my Bernina bobbin, so I'm gonna put it there. All right, I'm gonna show you up close with the camera what I'm doing here because I keep chatting through what I'm doing. Here, I'll bring this down right now though. Okay, so we're at the bottom of the placket, right? So we just folded this to the right side and stitched down right to the bottom of that Y. Here's the Y stitch, see the little triangle right there? All right, and now we're on this side. I'm about to do the same thing. So look, here's the slit right here, okay? This is all placket. We're just gonna stitch just to right here. You don't wanna go past it because it will not push to the back. And we want this all to end up, the bottom there, we want it to end up on the back side. So just go to that. Less is more, all right? And so now we're gonna push this all to the back. I'll flip it over and do it. Yeah, I mean, Elena, you've been doing the leather making. That's hardly a slump. It's pretty cool stuff. All right, so we want this, I'm gonna put this right over left. So this is the back side of the shirt here. Here's the neckline. So put, if you want yours to button right over left, this is as if you're wearing it right now, right? So if it's right over left, put the right hand placket down and then the left hand placket on top, all right? And then we need to put this corner to the inside, which it already is. All right, so I'm just gonna put it like that and let's just look and see how it's looking. The hole could be wider. Well, that's disappointing. Why isn't that hole wide enough? If I stitch it down like this, how could I do that? Let's see where I could get that all wide enough now. I don't think it's wide enough. It's not wide enough. Okay, this is the back side, so this one goes down first like that. All right. It seems wide enough. All right, let me show you what I'm gonna do. Okay, so push your plackets to the wrong side of your garment, right? So this is the right side of the garment right here. I could actually clip that a little bit right there and right there. So I'm gonna lift this up now, all right? So now you see how we're looking at the underside here? The thing is, it doesn't seem too small when I do that. You see that? Oh yeah, it does right there. Let's just make that flatter. I don't want to just clip just in case, you know? I think it's going to be fine. All right, so here's my placket. See, 1, 2, and there's my triangle, right? See, it looks good like this, but it's buckling on this side by a lot. All right, I'm gonna, oof, I don't want to clip this. It like fits in there. Right here. I'm scared to clip it more. Oh, that's right, Elena. Maybe you're just feeling a little bit of pressure. That sometimes kind of stymies me, you know? Let's try and finesse this a little bit with the iron. This is, we're looking at this from the right side, just so you know. If I get this way over. Why isn't that fitting? I can't finesse that with the iron. And if I just clip this right here, I'm a little nervous about that. Well, this is, I know that this can be a little intimidating of a placket, but it's honestly, it's actually a pretty straightforward one, but in my opinion, this opening isn't big enough, the width of it. So I want to clip it and make it a little wider. But when you do that, there's really no going back. And so I'm just a little nervous about that. And I want to make sure I'm not missing something, some ramification from doing that. You know, because it's literally a no going back situation. Is this sewn down too low? Like if this, it's like it's maybe too far over. Oh, this is a really good time to tell you that you can pinch and zoom in on YouTube now. It is a new feature. If you have a device that pinches and zooms, you can do that. See right here, this is just right here in this corner. And then you too. Maybe I just sewed this too far over. Maybe I'm overthinking this and it's going to be fine once I stitch it down. Because you know what? Actually, I think what happens is you do this. I think that's what you do. I think that's what you do. I think that's what you do. Okay, let's look. I'm pretty sure now when I think about the directions, I saw that on there. And I was kind of like, huh, that's interesting. Yes, that's what you do. Michelle, are you trying to be funny? Oh, the small allowance difference added up. Nah. That doesn't matter because I made sure that the opening was where I was stitching rather than following a seam allowance. Okay, so here's how this gets fixed. So we're just going to go to the inside of the garment here. All right. And we're only going to sew this triangle to the left placket. So let me get you oriented here. All right. Okay, so put your right, we're looking at the wrong side of the shirt, the inside of the shirt. This is the right and this is the left as if you're wearing it. Put this placket to the outside, all right? See that? And here's my little triangle right here. And here's the left placket, all right? And now these two right here, the triangle and this placket, we're gonna sew those together at the bottom. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this up like this, all right? See that? So I only have the left placket and this little triangle, all right? Now I can, the right hand placket, I'm feeling like it's a little in the way, so I'm just gonna lift it up, all right? And so I have very little space here because this shirt is massive. And I'm just trying, and my machine's in the way. All right, so there. Okay, we're gonna, can you please cooperate in here? There's so much fabric. It's like a full yard of fabric. All right. All right, pull this back like this, all right? Ay caramba. I'm moving the right placket out of the way. Okay, I'm gonna pull the camera down. I don't wanna let go of anything. Hi Chantel, how's it going? Mullen, exactly. All right, so we're gonna sew across right here, this little triangle right here. And don't go to the left of that original box stitching. You can later if it works out, but you don't want to take that out if you don't want to do that. So I'm gonna stitch like just to the right of it. In the lower portion in the triangle area there, okay? And I made sure that when I was kind of lining all this up, it looked perpendicular to this little edge here. You don't want to get this wonky, all right? All right, and so now it's looking more finished when I peel this back, right? But this is the left placket. The shirt's upside down, see? There's the left placket. All right, and so now this one's gonna go over it like this. We're gonna finish these edges. And they kind of tell you, they just say to hem this, but they're doing this in the picture. They're poking the seam allowance inside the placket like this. So hopefully you left it loose like I told you to. This is gonna take a little bit of finessing, all right? Because you don't really have much room to turn up things there, all right? Okay, like this, right? We're gonna put this little fold inside here and this little fold inside here. All right, like that. Like that, all right? Make sure that this is straight across the bottom. Take your time. This is gonna be the fiddliest thing we do, so just take your time with this. You'll be happier. Get all this in there. If you're doing a really chunky fabric, this is probably gonna give you a little bit of a headache. There'd be another way to sew this if you were. I'm gonna put a pin across this and then let's check it out before I sew anything, okay? This would be a good time, and we are, to do the buttons and buttonholes. Okay, there we go. Right, and so we have that little edge finished, and it's gonna go right on top of that left side. Yeah, this fabric is amazing. It's gonna be a really epic shirt. I don't think Hart knows I'm sewing it this week, so they're gonna be pretty surprised. All right, so that's what it's looking like, okay? So if you had your plaid not on the bias, you could use your plaid as a guide to sewing straight across. Mine, because it's on the bias, I made that straight across, and look, this edge right here looks longer than this edge. This edge is far more stable because it's been stitched a couple times. So I may want to overcompensate a little bit on this edge here. Like when I take the pin out, it relaxes, it looks more straight across. I'm just gonna pull this folded edge into there a little bit more because that bias may end up making it look less straight because it'll like stretch out right there. And then again, I'm gonna poke these little corners in here. I use my awl for this kind of thing. It's nice. It won't damage the fabric. It's why I get this style. A stiletto might, but this one's nice. Okay. It's gonna be fine. All right, so I think that's it. That's all I have to do. And then we just edge stitch from the right side. They have you stitch this first, but I'm gonna stitch it from the right side. Edge stitch from the right side, not along the bottom. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, maybe this side wasn't stitched down yet either. I don't know. I'm going to do this a little different than that. So we're going to put the buttons and buttonholes on this right now. Oof, I kind of loathe to do this right now, but we're going to. No, of course, Ray. Can you use that on this right here? I think I would be nervous because you can kind of, you see all these edges here. But it is looking a lot nicer now. See that? It looks totally clean and it's fitting fine. So, all right, so I'm going to use this as my buttonhole template. Why? Oh, never mind. I was kind of like, what? Okay. Okay, I'm going to Just line that up on the fold line. I'm really just getting the vertical spacing from this. And now, where's the buttons? Come on. Here we go. Jeez. Tiny little thing. I couldn't find it. All right. Yeah, that sounds great, right? Just gonna glue it in place, right? Just need one of these. And then we're gonna mark the length. These aren't very thick buttons. Okay, this is why they give me more than the 3 I need. And then now we're gonna just mark down the center of this. Like this. Okay, now we're ready to do our buttonholes. And our placket, see how it's still loose, so it'll be pretty straightforward. Okay. That was kind of a terrible noise, huh? Here we go. Well, actually, let's put that on there. And we're gonna sew a little bit. Wrong foot pedal. We're gonna turn that machine off so we don't accidentally use it. Okay, we're going for it. One of the tiny iron things too. I have one of those little tiny irons. It was someone else, it was in their stuff and they gave it to me. It's actually come in handy a couple of times, but you know, it's not really necessary. No, why'd you get stuck there? Oh, yeah. There we go. Just looking how it lines up on my presser foot. All right, so we've got our buttonholes on here. Easy peasy. I think that's always a good thing and a bad thing when you're forced to do your buttonholes early. It's like the good news is like, okay, I don't have to do that at the end. It really makes the finishing a lot faster. But it also means you have to do your buttons and buttonholes right away. It's only 3 though. Okay. Okay. Let's check it out. We'll finish our placket here. Can you hear this fabric? It's got a kind of a crisp sound to it. You know? All right, so now we're gonna finish the bottom of this little placket here. We'll set all this up. So now is your chance to kind of get this lined up right here, right? So try not to take no for an answer. Get this nice and flat like that. And then, because you don't want this to happen, right? You know, and that can actually easily happen. I've done it many times. And so if it makes you feel better, pin it shut up here. So then that way you're just not worried about it down here, right? And then I'm gonna sew across the bottom here. I'm also gonna give myself a little bit of a, just kind of visual. Okay, so as long as I'm like 1/4 of an inch up, I will catch that under thing. Oh, I didn't finish this edge yet. You can use a zigzag or a serger or whatever for this edge here. I'm gonna turn it under right now and stitch it, probably kind of messily, honestly, because I'm in a hurry a little bit, right? So I'm not too worried about the triangle. It won't fray or anything, but we can kind of wrap it in there. Why not, right? All right, and so I'm gonna press these little corners in here. You can use a pin or a tapestry needle to do some of this stuff if you don't have an awl. Something not too sharp, because when it's really sharp, it just pierces the fabric and you can't grab the fabric. Like it's kind of maddening, you know, like you're just trying to grab it and you just can't. It just wants to poke through. I'm just gonna edge stitch this. Did you really come unthreaded? Come on, man. Come on, cut me some slack. Night, Mullen. Nice seeing you. Hope to see you tomorrow. Please. Oh my gosh, I have the Ask a Sew question show Friday. Oh my gosh. I'm a little booked this week. Okay, here we go, got it in there. All right, that's clean finished on the inside now. And now we'll do the right side as well. Just trimming these little threads, and I saw this thread earlier. All right. All right, so I'm gonna get rid of this pin here. And I'm gonna lower this side a little bit, just the top side. If anything, you want the top fold to be a little like smaller, for lack of a better word, because you want it to cover up the bottom. So you want the bottom fold to be folded in more, in other words. So I'm gonna start at this little edge stitching here, go down, around, up, and over, make a rectangle, all right? So I'm gonna start right here, right along this placket edge, kind of continuing my stitching there. And I'm just arranging it, making sure it's all nice and straight. All right, and now I'm gonna turn. Always stop needle down in these really precarious situations. We're gonna go across the bottom. It's okay if you catch the under placket, the left one. We're gonna go up just a little bit. Yeah, 4 stitches, looks like about the same. It's about 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm gonna go straight over. Just like that. All right, and then let me show you how it looks. All right, so this is what it looks on the inside. I have a couple of back stitches I didn't clean up right here. You can see the little edges of my triangle. They didn't really get caught. See that? This right here is the triangle folded in there. I could probably, maybe not pop it out, but I could if I wanted to, right? And then this is what it looks like on the right side. So that turned out pretty good. Like up close, obviously it looks a little funny. But I think like for This looks pretty legit. I'm happy with that. Okay. And then you put the buttons on later. Yeah. Okay. The next step is the sleeve placket. It's already 1:30, yeah, so I'm going to go for a little bit longer. I'm going to do the sleeve placket now. Is that on the back sleeve? It is, right? Should be. Thanks, Kathleen. And I'm calling this the right side because the black is darker. We can get our little sleeve placket here. And we'll do the pleats. But we won't be doing the cuff because we don't have our seams done here yet, right? All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna slit the placket from that notch up to where the pin is. And I'm gonna go right along the plaid because that, well, no, I'm not. Am I? I'm not gonna go along the plaid because I did not cut this on a plaid stripe. See, so it's not perpendicular. We just gotta ignore that. My scissors didn't want to do that because it wasn't on the grain. All right, so I consider this the right side. So we're going to start this little sleeve placket and we're going to go from the wrong side. All right. And I'm just going to use a little 1/4 inch seam allowance. It's a really narrow placket. Oh, and I actually liked thinking, like when I'm teaching people how to do this, I like to do it from the other side. And I'll show you why in a second. So let's take this out and I'll start it again. It's a little easier. I just did a whole in-depth thing on this for the button-up sew-along. Oh, good. Is the zooming up then working? That's awesome. Okay. All right, so we're going to put the... is this the right side? I think that's the right side, so we're gonna do it this way. So I'm gonna put this little sleeve placket behind here. Essentially, we're sewing a straight line. It just doesn't feel like it because we have to pivot at the top of this slit, right? And so the way I like to explain it is like this. So if we were to draw a 1/4 inch seam allowance parallel to the edge of the placket, the piece underneath here, this one right here, right? Let's draw a 1/4 inch line. Can you see that? See that little line I just drew right there? All right, and when we sew this, we're gonna line this up, raw edges together, but we're really gonna sew it in like a V. So we're gonna go from here to there. My V is cut really, really wonky, but here, like that. You see that straight line there and how this looks more like a V. All right. Okay, and so this line should match that line there. And so that means that when you line this up like this, you have to pull this fabric away to keep it on that seam line of the placket. In other words, don't keep the raw edge lined up and sew it a 1/4 inch all the way. It won't work. You have to pivot at that little point, and that point needs to land on the seam line. A square and mark a line. Oh, for the seam allowance? Okay, here we go. I knew it was coming, Kira. And so yeah, like when it got finally integrated, I was like, oh, this is awesome, right? But I kept forgetting to tell people too. All right, so I'm just sliding that placket. And then we're gonna go, I cut that so bad. There it is. And then I'm gonna pivot right now. So if you need to clip up to your needle a little bit more, go ahead. What I've been doing lately is stitching one stitch across the top, like that, like directly across the slit, like making a letter T. And now I'm gonna pull this down, the rest of the sleeve, to line up to the rest of the placket here, raw edges together down here. And up here, they will be, you can see that there's a little bit of space right here. Can you see this little red sliver right there? So we're sewing in a 1/4 inch seam, but not there at the top. All right, so it looks like that. So you see that little sliver right here. Mine's lopsided because it would not let me cut a slit at a diagonal because the grain of the fabric fought me. Okay, there we go. And now we'll do the other side and then we'll press and then finish it. Okay, so this is the right side. Okay. Let's see if I can cut a straighter line this time. It's this notch here. Is it that notch there? Why does this time it look easier? All right. I have been sewing so many things that don't have a right and wrong side. It's legit confusing for me too, you know? Okay, this is the wrong side. It's so huge. All right, so same thing, put the placket underneath. It feels weird to put that placket underneath, but I just do that so you can see that little sliver, you know, that it veers away like that. My stitch length is kind of small right now. Then I'm pulling the placket under there, pull it down so these edges line up and keep going. So your needle needs to be close enough that you can still pivot, but far enough away that the fabric's not going to unravel right there and your needle's going to fall right off, right? All right, let's go to the iron. All right. We're going to just press the seam. I really wish sometimes that Spoonflower had like different bases they printed on, like a dark base for darker prints, you know? Because that white background sometimes is just so cheap looking, you know? But it does make it nice and easy. Okay, so I just press that seam towards the placket like this. And I'm going to admit, I don't usually press this, but you can if you want. This is a really narrow placket that they gave you. It's a little wider over on this side. I don't know why. I didn't sew it at a very consistent seam allowance. But just do that first pressing at least, this one. It'll make it a lot easier. If you want to press along this long raw edge of the placket, go ahead, but I'm not going to. Just press it again since we're over here. Here we go. Okay, yeah, that's what I mean, yeah. All right, so here we go. Here's our placket. We're just going to fold it to the right side of the garment and fold that little edge down just past the seam. Try and keep these raw edges lined up here along this edge here. And you're just going to enclose that edge. You know, don't worry about seam allowance or anything. You're just getting a nice, consistent, narrow sleeve placket right now. Just enclose all that hoo-ha in there. Then you need to probably pivot your garment around. But see, when you straighten this out, it gets a little easier to sew. because the placket itself is straight. It's just the sleeve isn't. You know what I'm loving about this fabric is like there's different color combos inside here that I really love. Like this right here, this teal and yellow combo, I love this. And then this green and black, I love that too. And the green that's in this is a favorite of mine, especially this one right here. This really bright green right here, that's like food. I could eat it. Okay, so on the other side here, let's do this one. Like, look at this. Look at this really like dusky version of the plaid. Oh, I love that. I could have a whole shirt with just this dusky version. You know, like here's the bright of it and here's the light of it. Ooh, I love that. Love it. Okay. My seam allowance wasn't very consistent over here or something, so my placket's very narrow. They really didn't give you a whole lot to work with there. But it'll be nice. It'll be a nice finish. So just fold it up to that edge. Okay, and you can see I'm kind of like wiggling this back and forth. I push it in there so that I can secure it inside there, and I just kind of hold the fold above and placing the fold where I want it. I know that seems probably a little bit risky if you're not pinning and stuff, but I think once you kind of get the hang of that, it gives you more options because you're positioning it exactly where you want it, you know? So. You draw little, use little pins or draw. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so now we're gonna fold this in half. All right. So let me try and get you oriented. There's so much fabric here. So this is the sleeve right side up. And so I just want you to pinch this together, line up these edges right here, and we're gonna sew a little triangle like this right across the tip there, okay? Sorry, just whacked the camera because I used my wrong hand. It does look like fresh avocado. It's a little brighter, but yeah. I really think that the avocado green of the 70s really didn't do a lot for the avocado. Like, are they talking about the skin and the flesh mixed? Because, come on, the flesh is so pretty, you know? So again, put that right sides together. Like that. And then what that does is it makes your placket kind of behave. It'll start folding like that. You see how it's folding in there? And on the inside, it looks like this, right? So you have this little folded piece, right? And that's because this is going to be part of your pleats. So it's going to fold back on itself like this. And we can, I'll tell you, oh, that's not the right way though. This is the back. It should be going like this. This pleat should be on this side. What the heck? That's the neck right there. The pleats should be on this side. They shouldn't be on that side. All right, I won't finish that. We'll look at the directions and see. But there's pleat notches right here, and that's the back underside of the sleeve. That's not where they usually go. Maybe it's a design choice by them, like on the Cameron. You know, I just noticed this right here. Is this little piece of fabric blumping out right there? Is that just optical illusion? I think it's an optical illusion. How weird. Okay. All right, so we'll just leave that for now. I'll make sure, I'll check out the instructions and make sure that I do it. Well, I might do it the way they have it. Okay. We could do the hem facing real quick, maybe. trying to get as much done as possible so that later this isn't, like I can finish all of it tomorrow, no problem. It's a blurple pleat. It's a blurple pleat. Yeah, me and Libby have a name for it now. Because it makes your pleat kind of hang down underneath. Let's look at the picture. There's no way they did that. I must be looking at this wrong. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. Maybe there's no pleat at all. Maybe there's no pleat at all. Can I not zoom in on this? I'm trying to find a picture so I can show you guys. Oh my God, the fabrics on this website. Oh, here we go. Here's a good picture. Let's see. We want this picture. I don't think there's a pleat. Are we still live? What was that noise? Did you hear that? You can still hear me, right? No pleat. All right. Okay. I mean, you can still, okay, thanks. I heard this doo-doo, like something disconnected. No, I don't have a guild tab up. It wasn't that sound. I had to mute that on this computer. My hair is so poofy. Yeah, I don't know what that sound was. Oh, well, we're still live. Okay, so, oh, that's what it is. My camera disconnected. Because look, that's what it is. I knew it was a camera. There we go. Why you have to act like that? We're almost done. There we go. All right, so there's probably no pleat for that, and so that's okay. I feel a lot better about that. So we're gonna now pleat this over. So let's see. This is the shoulder right here, and this is the pleat. So we're gonna fold this over like this, right? It's gonna go down. And we're just going to sew it like that, right? And so now you have a little pleat for your placket. It's an interesting choice, no pleats. I think that's kind of cool. All right, and then we'll do it on the other side too. Again, this is the shoulder line right here. This is the underarm. Fold it back along the shoulder. Not too hard. You know, like don't fold it back like this, like really hard, where you have this little edge of fabric showing. Do it softly like this, so you have a nice soft pleat there. And then when your cuff is buttoned up, it'll look like that, okay? Yeah, they do, huh? Because it's not bright right now or sharp. So that shirt's upside down, so this is what it'll look like right side up like that. This one, I feel like it's pulling a little bit, but once it's buttoned like that, see that? All right, I'll probably leave it there. Okay, bye, Elena. Okay. So tomorrow I'll be finishing the sewing of these and we'll be doing a lot. I'm kind of wanting to do the facing right now, but we'll wait. And we're going to be finishing it up. So I'm going to be doing the collar stand, the shoulders, the side seams, all French seams, the side vents, hem facings, and the sleeve cuff. Oh my gosh, can I do all that tomorrow? Can I do all that tomorrow? Do I just do the facing right now? Now we can do it. We can do it. It'll be fine. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming, you guys. I won't be here next week, so this is it. This is the stream. It'll be fun. I can't wait to see this one on too. So thanks for coming. I'll be here tomorrow, same time, same place. I won't be here Saturday live, just today and tomorrow. So thanks for coming, and have a great rest of your week if I don't see you, and have a great Thanksgiving if I don't see you until the week after that if you're in the States. So I'm gonna go. Bye.